Hi, I'm Antoine Brown,
And I'm Jeanette Brown.
and welcome to part two of Handle with Care. We had our first part this morning, and tonight we have our second part, and we look forward to having a good time tonight.
Yes, we're focusing on Black love for Black History Month, and this is part two of our Black love program.
Yep. So before we get started, we'll introduce ourselves a little bit. We're going to talk about marriage tonight, and we have two of our best friends right with us, and it should be pretty cool. But I'll introduce us. So me and Jeanette met in 1992. And we met over my cousin's house. Jeanette was with her friend, and she came, her friend dated my cousin, and then Jeanette came with her one day, and that's where we met. We first started dating, and that was in 1992. And then Jeanette was a senior, or going to her senior year in high school, and we dated all the way through college, all the way through
until we were engaged.
6
years later.
Yeah. And then we were married in 1998, and we've been married for
almost 23 years.
Almost 23 years, and we've been together for 29 years. You got something to add to that?
No.
Nothing at all?
That's it in a nutshell.
That's it in a nutshell.
Our shirts, though, if you notice, mine says protect him, hers says protect her.
I'm a him.
Protect him, protect her.
I don't know what you said.
Okay.
All right. So tonight we're going to dig into a few videos, invite our friends on with us. And first, we're going to show a little video, and then we're going to introduce the other couples that are here with us. And I'm sorry, we didn't mention, we're from Ephesus SDA Adventist Church here in Saginaw. And let's get started with the introduction. You ready? You got something else?
No.
All right, let's go. So we got a video for a few of our friends, and we're introducing them.
Okay, so our first couple is my sister, one of my sisters, Lisa Reed. They say we look like triplets, me, her, and my actual twin, and her husband, Andre Reed. I met Lisa. I've known her for years. I've known Andre, who we call Taco, for years. Then I met Lisa when she joined our sorority. So we're sorority sisters, but I say that we are real sisters in real life. So welcome, Taco and Lisa Reed. Yay!
And the other couple is Jeanette's other twin sister, part of the triplets. And that's Janelle and my newfound brother for the last 20-something years, Eric Smith. All right.
Welcome. So we wanted Taco and Lisa and Janelle Eric to join us this evening to talk about marriages, because they've all been married for quite a while. We wanted to focus on Black love, and in my eyes, they are Black love. And like we said, we're going to have some videos, discussion, and we're just going to keep it real. So we've already told the couples to keep it real and honest, which I know they will. So this will be just our fun night to celebrate Black love.
All righty. So we're going to start with introductions. And I got a little bell up here. I'm giving everybody 2 minutes, but if you can take 3. Are you pointing at Taco? But we'll start with Eric and Janelle. You guys are on mute. But once you guys come off and mute, we'll start with Eric and Janelle first, and then we'll move on to Taco and Lisa. If you guys can introduce how you guys met, how long you've been married, kids, all that good stuff.
All right. Well, hello, everybody. I am Eric, and this is
Janelle
Smith. So we met in high school, actually. We can't remember how we met. I was a basketball player and she was a cheerleader, but for rival schools. And she probably noticed me after I dunked on her team a few times. But somehow we hooked up. We went to homecoming together in high school. And then we kind of went our separate ways for about 8 years. And then we got back together. And we dated for about 1.5 years. And then we were married in 2002, which was 18 years ago.
We have 2 children. Caleb is almost 17 next week, and Cole is 12, and a dog
Named?
named Ivy, and she's up for sale.
Actually, we'll give it to you.
She's free.
All righty. Andre, or I call him Taco. So Taco and Lisa, you guys up next.
Okay, well, I'm Taco,
And I'm Lisa.
and we've been together for 23 years. Been married this July to be 22. We met through a KCP, King Chavez Parks program while we were in high school. I think probably even middle school.
Middle school, high school.
Saw each other in passing, but no, she didn't put me on her radar yet. So I was still
No love
roaming
connection.
free up until college, about 1998. And she saw me and she knew she had to snatch me up. So, I applaud her for taking a risk. But we've been married again, 22 years this year. We have an 18-year-old daughter who's actually playing right now. But we're going to have fun tonight and then watch the game later.
Yep, just like Taco said, we've been married for a long time. We knew each other in the past, but just as friends, didn't like them or anything like that. But then it became a connection over the years. And we got kind of officially going together, courting, as people say, about 6 months, not even 6 months. And then we got engaged. And then within a year, we were married. Pretty much that's how it went. 19 and 20 being engaged was really difficult. But you see, we're still here and we're still going.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm glad you mentioned that because that's a segue to kind of like my first question. So when Antoine and I got married, I feel like now looking back, I felt like we might have been too young because we had to grow up together. I was 23, he was 26. So we had to basically grow up on our own. So do you feel now that you would have waited, or do you feel like that was the right time to get married when you got married?
Honestly, I don't think you can ever be ready to be married. You're going to have to learn, wing it. Everybody's going to always give you advice on how, what, why, when, and where. One of the best pieces of advice somebody gave us was to keep our business in our house. And I think we've done a pretty good 97, 98% kept our business in the house. It's not hard. But everybody's in the house has to know how to play that game, even with your kids, But other than that, we could have done it differently and waited. But I always say a man knows what he wants, and if I would have strung her along, knowing what I wanted initially, knowing that I wanted her to be the last one, I think that would have been selfish. Even though we didn't have all the money to live sufficiently, we had enough to make it. And obviously we've grown, just like I'm sure the rest of you guys have grown to where your income is now. So, love saved the day. And it's doing it right now.
Yeah, a lot of people thought, I was pregnant, and that wasn't the case. My daughter's not 20 something, but that was like a negative thing. People kept saying, Lisa, why do you guys want to get married so young and so fast? You guys should wait. But we just felt it was the right time. We didn't want to live in sin. We wanted to move in together and do the things that married people do. So that's just what we did. And it worked out. Just like they say, we started from the bottom, really, and now we're here. Yeah. How some people marriages, which it works if they get married older and they, a house and got to come together and finances. Okay, this your chair from your house and my chair from my house. Okay, which one we going to do? No, we came together with absolutely nothing and everything is ours together. So and, you know, to your question too, I don't know, you know, we kind of talk about that sometimes, you know, will we be together if we would have waited? I mean, I don't think so, because certain times we just kind of go separate ways. He's like, Lisa, shut up. Okay.
So it was best that he got you in.
Okay, yeah, we did it and we here.
Yeah, right. I was about to ring my bell, but I didn't want to ring it. Right. And so if you guys don't mind me asking, I know you just forgot to say it. What church do you guys attend?
Oh, we are part of New Christ Community Church in Saginaw.
Thank you. Eric and Janelle, you guys got us on mute again. What church?
Ephesus Seventh-day Adventist.
Oh, okay.
That was
Inside
an inside joke.
Right.
So
with the being married, we weren't super young when we got married. We were 27 and 26, or 27, 28, one. But I think anytime you get married, like Taco said, you're not ready for it, because you're going from a life as a single person to a life as a couple. And everything before that, you've been a single person. You haven't had to ask anybody to go out or anything like that. And whether you get married at 27 or 50, I think that's the case. So it's always an adjustment.
Yeah, I wasn't ready when I was 19 in 20, 21, 22, 23.
No.
I think for Antoine and I, we when we were dating, we were together every single day on the phone all day, every day if we weren't together. So basically, and he knew I was not moving in with him without a ring. So it was either marriage or nothing.
right. See, I don't know about you guys, but I think like I never had my own place. Like my first place was with Jeanette. You know what I mean? So that's all I know. Like when I was in college, I stayed home because I went to Saginaw Valley. So my first place has always been Jeanette, the only house I ever had. So I don't know anything different.
Oh, it's different when it's your place and then you come together.
Yeah, we both had our own place. We lived in different cities when we started dating the second time around. So
Got it.
it's different perspectives.
Yeah, and just like what Jeanette said, we were together every day. Even though Lisa lived in Flint and I was in Saginaw, you figure gas was like 78, 79 cents at the time.
Wow.
It wasn't even $1 yet. It was kissing $1 and going back down. And I didn't pay $1 for gas for a while. But you figure just hitting the highway, either going to Flint or her coming to Saginaw, we literally saw each other every day. I was like, either I can watch a TV show for a half an hour, or I can go to Flint and see Lisa in that drive. So we literally saw each other every day, and that kind of accelerated, I think, the courtship, because we were together so much, just like you guys said. And, you know, it seemed like a short amount of time, but the love it grew stronger. And I guess, you know, that's where it is. Yeah, I mean, I don't think ideally anybody would want to get married at 21 and 20, but my mom and dad actually did it too. We didn't even know that until we started doing the math. We had Lolo the same age they had me, and they got married, and they were married for 3 years and had me in the 3rd year. And the same thing with us. We were married 3 years and they had Lolo in the 3rd year. It wasn't by design, it just happened that way.
Wow, that's crazy. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna get into the first video.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go ahead and start that now.
So when we're looking at building a healthy and loving marriage, I like to think about the word kiss and the value that that word brings to a loving marriage. On the one hand, it speaks to the contact that husband and wife make with each other, face-to-face coming together with a level of consistency. And we talked about the 3 different types of kisses that a couple would experience. One being a friendly kiss, and that's just a quick peck that says, glad you're part of my life, you're someone special to me. The second is a sensual kiss, and the sensual kiss is a kiss that might be a little longer, a little more passionate. It says that not only are you someone special, but I have special feelings for you. And then there's the sexual kiss, and the sexual kiss is a goal-oriented kiss, a kiss that says that we are initiating, this is a prelude to a special action that we get to share with each other. And so we talked about the importance of couples kissing, and when they kiss, how it continues to allow a couple to stay connected even when they're upset with each other. They know that at some point we're going to have to come back together and kiss each other at some point. And so it doesn't allow you to drift too far away from each other, even during the times of anger. It says that I know that I'm going to have to come back and reconnect with you. So that's one type of kiss when we think of kiss. The other thing when we think of kiss is the actual acronym KISS. Years ago, people used to use that acronym to say, keep it simple, stupid. Now the keep it simple part, I think that has a great sentiment to it. The stupid part is kind of harsh. And so I believe what we talk about is keep it simple, sweetheart. And that's a statement to married couples to let's just keep our relationship simple, and let's not allow it to become complicated and convoluted with everybody else's opinions, but let's do love simply the way that God says to do love. So one of the first things we talk about in a relationship that is being kept simple is we have to understand what God says love is. And God says in 1 Corinthians, the 13th chapter, he lays out a lot of the specifics about what love actually is. And it's important, I believe, for couples to get that scripture in their hearts. And so as we do marriage counseling, as we talk to couples, we talk to those couples about learning that chapter together and allowing what God says is love to define how they do love with each other. You know, society teaches a lot of romantic concepts about what love is. But some of the specifics, love is patient and kind and long-suffering. Some of those things are not necessarily as romantic or sexy, but they are ingredients that make for a healthy, loving relationship.
Hold on.
Okay, so we're just gonna kick this off we're gonna just go right into it about intimacy and kissing. Eric and Janelle, is kissing and intimacy important in a marriage?
Yes.
Yes, very.
Can you explain?
Well, I think,
Yes.
like my man said, because I like kissing. So, you know, if I'm leaving for the day or before we go to bed tonight, I try to make sure I give her some kind of kiss, at least something to say, you know, to acknowledge that you ain't just somebody that I'm sharing a house with. So I think it sends that message, and it's good to just have that contact, that kind of physical contact, and kissing is a good way to do it to me.
All right, Lisa and Taco, different question for you. Let's talk about romance. Is romance important to you, Lisa, as a female? And Taco, what's one of the most romantic things you've ever done for Lisa?
I wanted that question.
Yes, it is important to me. Sometimes you got to really think about it and do things to make it romantic a lot of the times, because you've been married so long and it's routine. Then we only have one daughter, so we pour everything into her. So sometimes you kind of forget about those romantic things that you need to do to spice things up or to keep it romantic. So it's very important to me, but I can be real difficult. So what was the best thing you've done?
Honestly, I don't know the most romantic thing because Lisa is the romantic. Yeah, I'm not, I mean, I like romanticism, but I'm not. Lisa comes up with the ideas, and we do it. I'm like, wow, that was a good idea. And I never would have thought of it. So I'm like, I'm in that aspect, I'm a real dude, because but other aspects, I could tap into my feminine side and then just make it work. But yeah, Lisa's the romantic than I am.
Yeah, I was gonna say that men are kind of. I think Taco hit it right there on the nail. That men kind of don't think out the box like women do when it comes to romantic things. Lisa, so you tell us, like, what is something maybe you've done for him that you felt that was really romantic?
I can tell you. One time, I think I was either headed to California to sing, and so either I was going or coming back, and it was warm outside. We couldn't go to the beach or something. Lisa had She had a spread in the garage. She had a blanket, like we was on the beach, a blanket, a basket, food, everything spread out on the garage floor with a cover, you know, with the
Chocolate cup.
chocolate cup. It would no, I'm talking about with the blanket, you know, that for the as if we were on a picnic or barbecue picnic, whatever. And that was in the garage, and I was like, wow, we were music, and you know, you would think about something like that on a field or on the beach, but we actually did it in our garage.
Oh, nice. Okay, Janelle wanted this question. So Janelle, what's the most romantic thing Eric has done? No, she
I'm going to tell you what I've done that was romantic. Eric is not a romantic person, but I think the most romantic thing he's ever done, he wrote me a poem because he's a writer and a poet, and he had it made into glass like a crystal with the poem.
I do remember that.
But the most romantic thing I've done was for our 15-year anniversary. Every day leading up to the 15th, like the day of our anniversary, I gave him a gift, 15 gifts, and it was a card that says, I love you, and the reason why I loved him. But every card said a reason I loved him with a clue or a gift or something to go with it.
That is good.
It was very romantic. And Janelle she's much more in tune with that, like Taco said, than I am. Yeah, and I don't know if it's just men or how we work or what have you, but I thought the other thing was the most romantic thing I did.
That means men need to step their game up just a little bit.
Hold on, something good going on here. What's the other thing, Eric? I heard that.
For Valentine's Day one year, he cooked me a candlelit dinner, and he had a bunch of Post-it notes all over the place.
Right, and each note was a different reason why I loved him.
Oh, take note.
Player.
Twan, what's something I've done for you that was romantic?
Next question. I'm just messing with you.
I was about to say, I don't know. Excuse me.
But man, you got me thinking now, Jeanette. I have to think.
Scavenger hunt, remember?
Oh yeah, okay. So that was kind of weird. So one day, it wasn't weird, but one day was that at work?
Yeah, I had
when I was at
your
work,
job.
people at my job was leaving weird stuff on my desk that I didn't really know where it was coming from.
And it was a
Right.
scavenger hunt.
It was a
Telling them to
scavenger
do
hunt,
the next
do the
thing.
next thing, the next step, get to the car, and it led all the way up
Like
to.
he had to go to across the street to it was something across the street at
It's
that
Coco
time.
Loco now, right?
Yeah, but you had to go there. Then that owner had the next scavenger hunt message for you. You had
Oh
to go
yeah, okay.
Lover's
Now
Lane,
it's coming back
all
now.
these different places.
It's coming
Yeah,
back. I'm sorry, man.
I put a lot of work in it.
No, yeah, that was nice, but I do remember that. All right. What
Okay.
about?
I have to add too, if I can.
Go ahead.
I had Lisa's 40th birthday party. That was the craziest thing I ever did. That was a piece of work. I was stressed out, but I knew I owed her because she had given me 2 birthday parties, and
Probably 10.
No,
15.
and gave Lolo 18, but I had 2, and so
No,
she
more
at
than
least
2.
had to get 1.
No, more
Yeah,
than
that was nice.
That was a good
nice.
party.
That was really
That
nice.
was probably the most romantic thing
Eric,
I've done.
Yes,
Okay, so I want to know with Eric and Janelle, you all have some younger children, like because Lolo is going to college, our kids are out of the house. So because you have kids at home, how do you manage your intimacy?
How do we manage our intimacy? Locked doors and late night, and the very occasional getaway. It is different with kids, because even then, you know, it's just different when you know you got kids in the house. You know, you can lock the door or do whatever else you want to do. It's still in the back of your mind. You know,
they still knock on the door.
and then they still come and knock. And now they're of the age where if they come down and find a locked door, now they get to thinking, what are y'all doing there? Why is the door locked?
Cole
You know?
ask, why is your door locked?
Right. What are you doing? Huh?
Right. So it's always interesting when you know, here at the house. So I think it's important, and it's something I want to do more often, is, you know, we just go somewhere, get away for a weekend or even a night or something, just so we can be a little more relaxed.
So Lisa and Taka, last question, and we'll go to our next video. How do you spice things up now? Because you've been married 22, 23 years almost. How do you spice it up since you've been together so long?
Yeah, how do you spice it up?
Don't be putting me on the spot. How do you spice it up?
Yeah, go ahead, boy.
And has things evolved over the years, or has it like, got boring?
Not boring. See, I don't know. I have a crazy amount of energy, and Lisa doesn't.
Too much.
So,
Most men do, women don't.
you try to spice it up. So with us, a romantic evening has to be probably before 8, probably even by 6. Because Lisa's senior citizen comes out. And
But Lisa gets up early.
I'm up at the same time mentally. And I'm just waiting for the lights to go up, but I'm up in the head, up mentally.
Yeah,
but I
up
work
in the
out.
head, all right.
No, but I work out. I work out early in the morning. I mean, I'm up practically the same time she is. It's just that I have a high energy level, and Lisa, we're trying to keep it spiced. But yeah, Lisa doesn't have the energy for it right now.
Yeah, sometimes it's difficult. Like you said, you have to do things to make it like, okay. And then certain times it's just like, oh, all right, here you go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But with that being said, I always draw comparisons on everything. For instance, you guys had a meeting last night. The meeting was almost probably 3 hours. And so, yeah.
I had 2 meetings, so back-to-back meetings too.
So my thing is, if you can do 4 hours, 3 to 4 hours with that, you can at least give me 15, 20 minutes.
When you put it that way, yeah, I can see it.
Or at least 5 minutes, right?
You need more than 5.
But what I'm saying is, I think I deserve that, or she would even deserve that. But that's where the struggle comes in. I'm like, you can't talk on the phone to everybody, and then I can't, we can't play football. You know what I'm saying? So
she gotta give you she gotta spend as much time as you as she does with the sorority and her other.
Yeah. So that's just the thing about just balancing it all. And that's why I think, it's an imbalance a lot of times. And so, if you talk really about it, I kind of think that it's 7 days out the week, and it should at least be about 3 to 4. I do conservative 3 days. It should be some practice happening for the big game. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, Taco. So listen, you're right. Me and Jeanette, we went to marriage counseling with the pastor over quarantine. Then he was like, well, how many times do y'all, I don't know what word he used. Once, twice a week. He was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, once or twice a week.
I was like, oh, Pastor. Okay.
Right, you're right. Pastor Brownwell, he was like, no, you need about 5, 6 times.
That's a
right. Your kids, cook, clean, family.
But you go to your job. You go to your job for 5 days, and you're there for 8 hours.
No, 12.
That's to get a paycheck, but that's to get a paycheck and health insurance.
Yeah. But you got to release. If you don't release, you're built up. So if you don't have, I'm telling you, you ever seen you shake up a bottle and you got to let those fizz out? You got to release. So,
hey, I'm telling you.
Swan and Eric, we work hard, and I think the payoff is the release. So
Eric, you agree?
Eric Smith is sleeping as soon as his head touches pillow. So.
See, y'all know too much. Jeanette know too much. That's what. Do you agree, Eric?
Listen, we gonna clearly be in board meeting on Sunday after this.
Yeah.
But I ain't doing no cuts. It's coming through live like it is.
Coming through like it's coming through.
All right.
All right, you ready for the next video?
All right, so we have another video, and I'll get into that video right now. Then we'll come back with more Q&A and discussion. All right.
The biggest challenges, I believe, for relationships today is how we define what love is, and how we define what a healthy marriage is, and what we use to make that definition. I think that in our society and in Western culture, we have a lot of other things that really don't matter as much that we've allowed to matter a lot. The work status, and the size of the marriage or the wedding ceremony, and where we went for a honeymoon. Was it a location wedding? And how many carats in that ring? And some of those things that we put so much emphasis on. People are paying an average of $30,000 for a wedding ceremony, and not spending nearly that much, or spending that much time focused on the relationship. So we have to kind of realign what we believe is healthy. And I believe that a healthy marriage, a healthy relationship, is one that follows the order and structure that the Bible sets forth as a healthy marriage. It starts with, the word says that he who finds a wife finds a good thing and finds favor with the Lord. I believe that's still the truth. And, in the scripture, when it talks about the 10 virgins, the wise and the 5 wise and the 5 foolish, I believe that that speaks to a reality today, because a God man is looking for the light of the Lord in a godly woman. And so when that light is trimmed and burning, when you're living a life for the Lord, then a man of God is going to see that and be drawn to it. And so that's the beginning of a healthy and loving relationship. So just because a couple both are spirit-filled and love the Lord, just because they love the Lord does not mean that they are not going to have challenges. I think there's an old adage that causes people to believe that somewhere in the hemisphere or in the universe, there's this one person out there for me, and somehow I'm going to find that person either at Walmart or at church. I'm going to come into that person. Well, the reality is, I believe that there are a number of people that we could marry, and as long as they are of the same faith. The Bible says, don't be unequally yoked. So God wants us to be of the same faith. And when we are of the same faith and marry, that God will be with us. We're going to have challenges, but he'll be with us through every one of them.
Made some great points. He who finds a wife finds a good thing. Yes,
That's
he
right.
does. One thing I want to talk about, just with me and Antoine, about being equally yoked. Although when we met, we weren't the same denomination. He was a Baptist, right?
Correct.
And I was an Adventist. We were equally yoked in other areas in our life. And he eventually became an Adventist. He joined our CFL basketball team, ended up loving the church, made a lot of friends. He probably had more friends in Adventist church than I do now. He does more than I do now. Taco, I wanted to take it to you, because when we spoke, I loved what you were saying about being equally yoked. Can you expound on that when we spoke before?
Yeah, I was non-denominational, and Lisa was CME.
Mm-hmm. Adventist as well.
She had a Adventist background with her family, but honestly, we was in the church, but really not in the church. Born and raised in the church, all of us pretty much on here have been, but not living that life. But we all grew together. We grew faithfully, strengthened our faith together. But I think the focus, we put God at the center of it, and then he made everything work for us. And that's the big thing about it. I don't think you can cross faiths. I don't think in most religions, the woman follows the man. So a Muslim man can date a Christian woman, because when they get married, the Christian woman will become a Muslim woman. But you can't get a Muslim woman to date a Christian man, because that Muslim woman would therefore become a Christian, and that's against their religion or against the law with them. So it varies with the law in other religions with dating outside of the religion or the faith. with being unequally yoked, if you per se. But you know, we grew, and we grew in so many ways, financially, spiritually, emotionally. So yeah, it's because you can have some people that are equally yoked spiritually, but then emotionally it's a catastrophe, or financially he is a wreck, he's a spendthrift or she's a spendthrift and can't balance a budget in the house. So it's more than just being a spiritual connection. You gotta have, and with compromise, it has to be on a higher end. If it's 5 things you gotta match, at least gotta be 3 out of 5 and not 2 out of 5. So
That's true.
Sure.
Now, Eric and Janelle, what I wanted to ask you was, he talked about in the video about challenges. What was one of the most difficult things that you had to get through as a couple, or a challenge you had to get through?
We had a few things. I think the first challenge we had getting married was having a newborn baby. Neither one of us knew how to change a diaper, knew anything about babies. So that was the first challenge. And I always say, if you can get through a newborn baby, you probably can get through anything. A newborn baby who does not sleep at nights. And Jeanette knows from experience, helping me with Caleb. I think the second challenge we had
Was when I got laid off.
when he got laid off, but I had faith. I knew Eric would get another job, so that wasn't a problem. And then I think the most recent challenge we had was his mother passing away.
Yeah, that was a challenge. And the other things that are challenging are schedules. You know, not every couple's schedules are compatible as far as being awake at the same time or going to bed or waking up at the same time. Tawana and Ned, I know you all know what that's like, and Taco and Lisa, I know you do too. And for us, you know, we have jobs where I'm up and I need to be on meetings by 7 a.m. And Janelle may not have to be on meetings that early. So that just that's just another challenge. I can see her looking at me. I can see her making that face.
I was looking at Jeanette.
Lisa know too. Lisa said 10 o'clock. You can't call it after 10 o'clock.
I'm just gonna tell her, Janelle like Tommy from Martin. She don't got no job.
Hey, I can tell you, Janelle has a good job. I said I was laid off and she wasn't worried. That tells you something about her job.
Right there.
I know Antoine and us talked earlier in our earlier video in the morning about quarantining and how that's a big challenge for couples. So we talked about that earlier, and how we had to go to counseling with the pastor because it was something different being around this man all day, every day.
I think it's more of you though.
I agree, Janelle.
But I do have a question for you all. You mentioned it's difficult being around him now all day and every day. But when you guys first started dating, you were around each other all day, every day.
All day, every day.
I
I know, right?
I really liked him then.
But I think it's right. Because I think the hard part, right, because you're used to getting up and going to work every day. So you have like that 9 to 10 hours to yourself. And then you come back home and be with your wife. But then all of a sudden now when you wake up in the morning, you're with her all day, every day. So you have to adjust to it. I mean, we've adjusted well, but it was a couple weeks, man, when I thought I was gonna be around y'all house.
But see, we have the opposite. I like Eric being home during quarantine because when I worked from home for at least 10 years. But when I worked from home, I was bored. I needed some company. So I'm happy he's here to help out.
I thought that too. But then just him even just talking and smacking, chewing was irritating me. So I knew it was an issue. I was just like going crazy, like, oh my goodness.
Our segue with being quarantined was being sick together. And I think
talk about that.
From there, we were cool. It never really bothered me. I don't know about Lisa, but it didn't bother me to be with her all. But you know what, honestly, I could be around her every day. I just think, I don't know if Lisa could be around me all day.
Busy, that's because she's a busybody. She don't like being in one
place. I can, you know, I don't have to be right on top of her all day, but as long as we're in the same vicinity, I'm cool. Like I could work with her. I could see her walking down the hall and be cool. I wouldn't have to be touching her all day just to know that she's close by in my presence is satisfying. So yeah, that I think, you know, being around each other is cool. I think it just it makes you grow fonder for each other. You can see each other in that light. I know sometimes when she kissed me before she goes and I smell her, I'm like, why you smelling that good? You going to a prison. Why you smell that good? Like, why you don't go funky to work? You know what I'm saying?
Taco, I want you to talk about, because you mentioned this, so you all both had COVID-19 together and were very ill. Talk about, because that's a big challenge as a couple. Talk about that.
Well, when we got sick, she didn't believe we were sick, but I knew from the symptoms that we were having, we were sick.
I knew we were sick. I didn't think COVID at first.
And so it was a big mental strain. She did more of caring for me. She had less symptoms than I had. And it really had to fend for me. And it's obviously, I think Janelle had it. Janelle, you didn't have it, did you? Just Janelle? Yeah, the roller coaster of a day that you experience with the highs and the lows and how it affects everybody differently. It's really, you don't understand. It's something that you don't like. I had cancer too. Just like you had cancer, Janelle, Jeanette. And when you have cancer, you have chemo or you're gonna have radiation. You might lose hair or might not. I mean, it's certain things that are guaranteed when you have cancer. Certain things guaranteed when you have the flu. With COVID, you don't know what you're going to experience. And I think that with that ambiguity of it all is people can act like they know it. You get somebody from asymptomatic and on the other spectrum, you get somebody that dies.
But you made a good point, Taco, about, so Lisa was sick and she still took care of you. And that, as a wife, as a husband, that's our job to do that. So talk about that, because Lisa, that took a lot, because I know you were sick and I was texting you, calling you, and you were taking care of him, worried about him.
That was real difficult. It was stressful. I mean, I broke down a couple times. Like, I can't do this. Like, I need water too. I need soup. I need somebody to take care of me. But he was sicker. You know, he was messed up. And I just think
every night around the same time, she would need some pain pills. So me taking care of her was really minimal. I would give her pain pills and I would be laying in the bed and she was like, my body hurt. And so I would jump up and put myself to the side for her, but it was nothing comparable to what she was doing for me. Cause I was sick longer during the day. And when I would get excited and dancing around the house, cause I had good energy, and she would tell me to sit my butt down because she knew I was going to have a low probably 30 minutes later. And, but yeah, every night, she would have these body aches and the headaches, and I would have to give her some meds, and then we would both go to sleep off the medication. But throughout the day, it was more so her taking care of me.
And that was the longest that we've been together nonstop. Like you said, you all are working together at home, and I'm an essential worker, so I have to go to work. So we were together, 20 something days, 29 days, didn't leave the house. So that's the longest we've been together nonstop. So that was difficult. But again, we were sick. So that was like taking it to a whole nother level. When I had to take him to emergency, when he got really sick, it was actually on our daughter's 18th birthday. Taco got so sick. I text both of you like, hey, I don't know what to do. Temperature is 103. I'm about to go. Y'all like go. So took him to emergency, and I had COVID. He had COVID, and they were like, okay, I'm taking him through the doors. Of course, we're watching CNN and the news all day. And they told me I couldn't go to the hospital with him, meaning inside in his room. And I'm just like, what are you talking about? No visitors, nobody. I'm like, well, I got it too, so I can be with him. They're like, no, I about lost my mind, because we've been together so long.
Because on all the news, everybody was dying.
The news, people were dying. If you left your husband, that was the last time. Like, it was very emotional. I think, honestly, we grew closer over that time, because it's like, oh, I really love him like that. You know what I mean? It's just like, wow, I didn't think that I couldn't live without you, and I really can't.
I mean, in that moment, that's one of them type of moments where you never think of, like, if I had to wipe their butt, if they pooped on themselves and they was that sick, you would do it.
Yep.
Because like right now, I'm like, I wouldn't wipe her butt. But when we was both sick, you like, shoot, I'd do anything to make sure she's still here or make sure he's still here. So, I guess in that desperate time, that chaotic time, you don't know what you'd be willing to do. And, your love is really put to test in that moment.
Speaking
But I
of
was
wiping, I
better.
remember when I had when I was going through my breast cancer situation, I had my double mastectomy. I couldn't move. I was so in pain. Twan had to literally wipe me. He had to give me a shower. Janelle had to come over, give me a shower. But that first day in the hospital, like he had to do some stuff. And I said, I know this man loved me because I don't know if I could have done it. He had to do a whole bunch of stuff. So
Right. But then you just do it without hesitation, right? It's like it was just automatic.
That's the thing. Yep.
That's the thing. Like you don't even think about I shouldn't do it. It's like this is what I should do. But the part about that was crazy was like Janelle came over and did some stuff, and I was like, if I had a brother, I'm not doing that. You know what I mean? And Janelle did it without a problem. I was like, man, couldn't do it. Yeah. So that was some stuff right there.
A regular sister though, too, or regular sibling. They was in the same sack together. So you know, it's a totally different connection than a regular sibling.
That's true.
now, Eric, you had to take care of Janelle when she had COVID. So how was that?
I mean, it wasn't a burden at all. I mean, that's my wife. I love her. I want to make sure that she gets through it all right. And so, you know, it wasn't.
I was trying to keep him out of the room because I didn't want him to get it, but he didn't care. He was like, he would work like sitting in the room with me while I was in the bed, sleep or sick or whatever. And he would just be like, I don't care if I get it. I'm just going to be in here with you. And he just took care of me.
Because I mean, you just know, because I know when healthy, my wife don't like to be alone for long periods of time. So, I mean, if it was just being here in the room with her to just, so she knows I'm here, you know, if I get it, I get it. You know, I got faith in God that if I get it, He gonna carry me through. So she got it. If I get it, I get it. But one thing you know mentioned, I'm talking about the quarantine. In about the middle of, we still in the quarantine, I guess. So at some point in the quarantine, we had been a few months together, working from home together, and then I had to go overseas for work during the quarantine, and it was crazy how you think, okay, you know, I'm spending all day around this person. You ask, you know, do you get tired of each other, whatever? But from the moment I got in the air on that plane going to Detroit, or not from Detroit going to Morocco, all I could think about is how can I get back home? How can I get back home to my wife? I miss her so much. I miss the family so much. And I mean, there was some other things going on, but that really opened my eyes to how close, you know, we've become. Is just, you know, I'm at work thinking of ways, hey, if I got to work an 18-hour day, if it's going to get me out of here and back home sooner, that's what I'll do. And this is leaving somebody that I just spent a month in quarantine with. So, you know, that's kind of speaks to the love and the fact that you grow closer during quarantine sometimes.
Sweet.
All right, so we ready for our last video?
No.
What?
All right. So we have we got one last short video, guys, and we'll play that, come back, talk about that, and then we'll be all done for the night.
When I think about couples having healthy communication, I think about communication that is devoid of unhealthy habits. So what we tend to learn, either growing up or just through interactions with friends or movies or books that we've read, we tend to take on unhealthy, bad habits when it comes to communicating. And so we talk about these 4 different communication danger signs. Those danger signs are escalation and negative interpretation and withdrawal. And we talk about how those danger signs are indicators that we are not communicating in a healthy way. And so we look at ways of avoiding or getting away from those dangerous patterns of communication. And so we talk to couples about calling a timeout or stopping the action that's negative, especially when it comes to escalating. Escalating being when couples start out with a fairly simple topic and end up yelling and screaming at each other, and the stakes have been raised highly. So we start out talking about, why didn't you take the trash out? And we end up screaming about who's going to have to leave. And that's an extreme case of escalation. But the way to interrupt that and the way to interject something positive is to stop the action by calling a timeout. And so we encourage couples to take a timeout, take at least 30 minutes to calm down, do things in advance set up a timeout plan so that you know what you need to do when it's time for you to calm down. We believe that couples, with regard to when couples have had a difficult spot in their relationship, maybe they've fallen out of love. You know, the term falling out of love kind of implies that it happens quickly. But the truth is, nobody falls out of love. If you've been in love, it's basically an erosion theory. It happens over time. It's just the same way that a ship goes off course. A ship doesn't immediately go off course with a hard right, but they kind of drift based on other forces over time. And same thing happens in relationships. It's a combination of and a compilation of negative things happening, not being addressed. And so the same way that a couple finds themselves off course or falling out of or becoming less in love than what they've been before, we can just kind of right the ship and start instilling in that relationship healthier practices. It could be communication, it could be increasing their date nights, it could be how they deal with in-laws or how they deal with exes, but just start addressing some of those areas in the relationship that have caused challenges.
All right, so that video was about
communication and challenges in communication. So we're going to start off with the first question for Eric and Janelle. How do you resolve conflict as a couple?
Eric apologizes.
That's true, though. That is very true.
Yeah, that's pretty much the long and the short of it. But I mean, we resolve conflict, and we don't always get it right. You know, like the video mentioned, some arguments escalate from one little thing to into something bigger. But usually when that happens, it's because one or both of us have other things that we never really talked about, and those things tend to come creep back up when the argument starts. And so now instead of arguing about one thing, we arguing about stuff that happened 2 weeks ago and all that kind of thing. So what Janelle is good at is, and what I'm not good at, is just pausing before the argument gets too big. Because she'll tell me, I always want to know what's wrong. And she'll tell me, I don't want to talk about it right now. And that like makes me want to know what's wrong more. So that's something that that I've worked on it over the years. Again, I'm not perfect at it, but I think I've gotten a little better.
We communicate, and sometimes I just say, give me like 10 minutes. Just you know, let me calm down.
Like the Joe Budden song, 10 minutes.
Give me 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then we communicate. But I told him, I try to tell Eric too, when we have conflicts and we're talking, all you have to do is say, here's some food. You want to go eat?
Go shopping.
Here's a 4-carat ring, you know, stuff like that.
That matter.
Bring the temperature way down. But yeah, I think that when the arguments that we've had that don't escalate are the ones where I am able to be like, okay, I'm gonna give you your space while you know, process what just happened, and then we come back later. You know, it's almost never a good thing to just keep going when you're just not ready to be in a space to have a constructive conversation.
Right, because I will win that every time.
Well, she wins everything every time. That's not even the conversation right there.
Tackle Lisa, the same question. How do you resolve conflict as a couple?
Lisa never apologizes.
That must be a woman thing.
Lisa is never wrong. She honestly, just keep it 100. Lisa likes to play the victim. And she doesn't like that I challenge her with certain things. She wants to control she's a control freak. We both know that. And she's never wrong, but she's not willing to apologize. I mean, she's not willing to compromise. So I do way more compromising than she does, which honestly I think is unfair, but I can tell her everything about herself. And if I say one word wrong, she blows up that one word, as if, you know, like with the impeachment, they're not even talking about they're talking about it's not constitutional. Not that the whole thing was wrong, the insurrection was wrong. Their argument is that it's not constitutional. That's Lisa. Lisa said the one word wrong and not even about the whole argument or the discussion. So, you know, it'd be unfair. And I don't know, sometimes I want to smoke a cigarette. Because I just don't. It's like I don't even know how to win because I know I'm right, and then you turn around and say, "Okay, my bad," and then you take another L. But it's like I want to win sometime.
Won before.
I won before.
But Taco, I can say that sometimes, when you married as we've been married the least time than all of y'all, and I was about to say when you've been married as long as we have, but even after 18 years, I know when she is I won't say apologetic, but I know when by how she acts after the argument, that's as close as I'm gonna get to an apology. So if we get an argument,
feel good about
Lisa is apologizing, she's just not saying it.
Right. So if we get an argument and we're talking again 10 minutes later, that was her apology.
That's the apology.
What you think, Taco?
If that's her apology, then it happens again. Are you really sorry for it? Because the apology never comes.
Let me tell you one thing that really gets me heated in an argument. Eric, like in the beginning of our relationship, Eric would use like these really, really big words that I didn't know the meaning of. So I would say like, don't use big words with me. I don't even know what that means. Like, I don't know what that means. Like he would use some long, like, I don't know word. I'll be like, I don't know what that means. Like words.
So
Lisa, wait, then you say, Lisa, why don't you apologize when you're wrong?
Because I'm never wrong.
There you go.
That's got to be a female thing.
No, that's an AKA.
Why don't you all apologize when you're wrong?
That's an AKA thing, bro.
Taco, you're right. That may be an AKA.
Wrong.
AKA thing. I don't know. It's AKA.
I do apologize though.
Jeanette apologized one time, right? So Jeanette never apologizes, but one day we had got into it about something. I don't really remember exactly what it was, but she was doing something in the kitchen and she was like, "I'm sorry." And I got nervous. I was like, I'm like, "What you mean you sorry?" You know what I mean? Like, what's going on? But Jeanette, like, Jeanette and I go apologize. She just like Lisa.
I apologize more now. You can say in the past I didn't, but now I'll take responsibility for my actions. And
29 years, Jeanette may apologize maybe 5 times.
Yeah, I don't.
That's good.
Look,
You're getting there.
I can't even get no COVID sympathy.
Right.
This joker, boy.
We're gonna put
that's because she had it too. So.
We're gonna put y'all in timeout, like he said. Y'all gonna need a timeout. Okay, so last thing I want to talk about is love languages. So I'm gonna act out these 5 love languages, and then each one of you tell me what's your love language. It could be 1 or 2 of these. Okay, so the first one is words of affirmation. Honey, your chocolates are delicious.
She went with chocolates though.
Hey, I can keep it at business.
Chocolates?
All right, acts of service. Honey, I made you chocolates. Receiving gifts. Honey, here's a chocolate. Quality time. Babe, let's go out and get some chocolate.
No.
And physical touch. Let me hold you like a chocolate. So, Lisa, what is your love language? Is it words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, or physical touch?
Physical touch, I think.
Taco, what's your
love language?
Lisa is receiving services.
Receiving
Acts of service.
Yeah, acts of service. She want me to do something. She want me to go out to eat or something. I can make her a dinner, and she say,
"Make a dinner win."
Oh, I ain't cooked the other night.
You helped, baby. Yeah.
See, that was an act of service.
Yeah.
Act of service.
Always is I could always do something more. It's just like it's no. I could suck her toes. It's like,
We out.
Look, I could have sucked her toes, but she was like, "Oh well."
The pastor called me.
The pastor told me to shut it down.
You could have kissed the back of my knees too. I was like, I thought I was doing something good, Well, you know, with that, but it's something different. But you know, with me,
So Lisa, yours must be physical touch and acts of service.
yeah.
There you go.
Talk about what's your love language.
We had to compromise too with that, because I used to have to say he has to take me out once a week. I don't care what's going on. We got a date night once a week. That's what I want, and I know what he wants. So I did tell him
What
that.
do I want?
You just want it.
So I like to touch.
So, yeah.
Physical touch.
Right?
Yeah.
Touch. Take me out to eat, pamper me, because I am a cooker. I love to cook, but I don't always want to cook.
Right.
So I need you to do that for me. And he's been doing that.
All right,
Great job.
Janelle and Eric, what's your love language?
Well, for Eric, his love language.
Wait, let him say what his is. You say what yours is.
Now, which one am I going to apologize? That's what I'm.
Well, my love language is, what was the one about gifts?
Receiving gifts.
Receiving gifts. Yes, that's my love language.
I knew it.
Hmm.
Eric, what's yours?
Mine is words of affirmation.
Well, you know that. Did you know that, Janelle? Was that what
I
you were going to say?
I do know that, and I'm a work in progress. We get that.
So, Antoine, what is your love language?
I'm the touch.
Physical touch?
Yeah, I didn't even know what that was. Jeanette had to tell me last night. Physical touch. That was it.
My love language is quality time
That's a fact.
and acts of service.
That's a
Those
fact.
are mine.
That's a
Quality
fact.
time is for sure it.
That is a fact.
And acts of service, like you all can make dinner sometime. You can do extra. We like that because we work hard and we need a rest at times.
Well,
Yeah.
don't say that we thing because I don't cook.
Yeah.
But tell y'all what, guys, that is it. So we want to close it out the right way. So the first thing we want to make sure we tell everybody that's listening that Taco, Lisa, me, Eric, Janelle, Jeanette, we are not marriage counselors. So this is just
Based on
our journey,
experience.
right? So we're not trying to step on any toes, but we do want to thank Taco and Lisa.
Yep.
We really do. We appreciate you guys.
And Janelle.
And we want to thank Eric and Janelle. We appreciate you guys. And plus the guy on the video name was Bob Davis. We appreciate him as well. Before we close it out, we do have, next week we are back with a different two couples. And we'll be back at 11 a.m. next Thursday and also at 7:30 a.m.
PM.
7:30 p.m. with Handle with Care. And you also can visit our website, esdac.org and fairhavensda.org to register for the YouTube session. Any closing? Let's do a closing. You should do closing words.
Give closing remarks. Give
Everybody.
some advice to
Advice.
about
Advice
marriage
to
or
somebody
marriage couple.
that's married, that's maybe half the time in is us, maybe.
Or maybe a new
Newlywed, whatever. Yep. We'll start with Taco and Lisa.
I would say what people told us: keep your business in your house, regardless of how crazy your spouse is. Keep your business, because it's not new that they crazy. You knew it. It's like, I'm not gonna be somebody different all of a sudden when we get married. You knew I was nuts when you married me, and you chose to deal with my craziness. So I mean, just if you're gonna pray for somebody in that deep, pray for them before you get married, because after you get married, you really can't change them. But nevertheless, keep your business concerning your family in your house. Keep God first, and do your best to make each other happy.
And I just want to add, I love your shirt, Jeanette.
Thank you.
Protect her and protect him. That's like one of our biggest things that we definitely do.
Yeah.
Andre Taco, I can say his full legal name. He definitely protects me and I definitely protect him. That's just something that we don't play about.
Yeah.
If I call him and say something, he won't be there whether I'm right, wrong, indifferent, or whatever. So I definitely appreciate that. And I definitely want everybody to protect their spouse, at all times.
Amen.
Eric and Nell, closing.
I'm gonna give my advice to Eric's. I think my advice would be do what works for you in your marriage. Every marriage is different. I hear people saying all the time, like, you don't cook for Eric. How did he marry you? It didn't work for us. He knew that going into the marriage. So he's good at cooking. I'm not. So I'm good at other things that he's not. So you do what works best in your marriage. And then also, like Lisa and Taco, have each other's backs no matter what. I told Eric, like, you could be dead wrong and I could be looking in your eyes like he is dead wrong, but nobody else will know that I think he's dead wrong. I'm going to argue and have his back, but when we get home, I'm going to tell him he's wrong. So we tell each other all the time, just have my back no matter what.
Yeah, I guess I would say, like Janelle said, do what's best for you, but learn each other's strengths and weaknesses and let the pride go. You know, one thing about our marriage, Janelle handles the finances because she's better at it. That's flat out it. And relative to the cooking, I think she told me she didn't cook on our first date in high school when I asked her to homecoming. I said, "Well, you go to homecoming?" She said, "You know, I don't cook, right?" But no, the other thing I would say is balance it out, you know, and look at things from a wide view. So when you're upset with somebody, remember the good things and remember the times that they were there for you, and remember that that's really what counts. You know, all this, he didn't take the trash out today. Yeah, you might be mad at that for now, but remember that this is the person that took care of you when you had COVID, or this is the person that gave you a bath when you couldn't get out of bed, or this is the person that was there for you when your mother died and did just amazing things that you didn't expect her to do. So, you know, when you think about it from that perspective, all this little stuff about not taking out the trash or whatever it may be, that's kind of small. So remember those things.
All right.
And our advice would be, we said in our earlier session that go into marriage not making divorce an option. So don't go into marriage with divorce even being on the plate. Divorce should not be an option. And also I agree with protecting him. As many a times I done ran out on that CFL floor. That was back in my old days. I don't do that no more. But yeah, because I'm overly protective. I just want to protect him at all costs. And people, I know his heart. I know how he is, how kind he is. And I feel like other people don't. So if you say something to my husband, it's going to be a problem. That was my old days. But God is within me now. So keep God first in your marriage. And then what else would you say?
I think earlier we talked about, first, everybody said something good, you know, so we can repeat that. But the one thing is that make sure you compromise, right? I said right.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So make sure you compromise. And then also it's okay to take an L sometimes. I heard Taco mention earlier, I took an L, but it's okay to lose an argument sometimes. Just walk away, live for another day. Yeah.
Choose your battles.
Choose your battles. Like, I think we all been married long enough to choose your battles. So if you're young in marriage or in a relationship, it's okay to lose sometimes those battles. That'd be it.
All right. Thanks,
all right,
everyone.
guys. Thanks. Appreciate you guys.
All right.
Peace out. Yep. Thank you.
Give each other a kiss. We want to see that KISS. Keep it simple, sweetheart.
All righty.
Bye.
All right.